Now, you could have went different routes, right? You could have licensed it. You didn't necessarily have to franchise it. You could have helped them open locations. Ultimately, as you looked into franchising, what was most appealing to you?
The biggest thing was controlling the quality of what we delivered. So since we're manufacturing our products, we wanted to make sure that we were in front of a customer, we had total control on what was being delivered. Licensing opens up a lot of variables that you have no control over, where
Mhm.
franchising actually delivers that for us.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's go over the numbers. We've got 21 franchises in Canada. You're getting ready to expand into the U.S. Do you have your FDD all done here in the U.S. now?
We are 95% done.
Sweet.
We're right there. We're just tweaking it and we're ready to go. We did our franchise agreement and now the FDD is being completed. And yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay. Where do you guys want to expand when you come to the U.S.? Are there specific markets that you'd like to go to first?
Well, the pipeline's already full, so we have a lineup at the door. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to interview sort of those high premium candidates and see where they're located. But logistically, we are product heavy, so we ship a lot of product, whether it be cabinets and slat wall, and also our resins. So we want to make sure that we're centralized and we're able to cater to the initial growth.
Going back to your Canadian franchises, I'd love to hear about how did you find your first, dozen franchises?
So we actually partner with a franchise sales organization here in Canada. They're specific to Canada only.
Okay.
Over 20 plus years of experience. And, we became friends through the process. So he's a dear friend of mine. And we've been able to sort of collaborate on that initiative where we're able to, so we generate leads together and we go after the market together. We do discovery calls together and our discovery days are all done together. So it's something that we've been part of the process since day one and we control that process internally.
You've been really happy then working with this FSO, sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say it's a fractional FSO if we're to use that, where,
Hmm.
they don't control the entire process. We're involved pretty much at every stage, and there's certain stages where we control the process.
That's great. And I think that's really important and really important for founders to hear. I know we have a lot of emerging founders that listen to this, whether you're using a broker group or an FSO, which can be a phenomenal relationship and really help you grow faster. It's not a set it, forget it, right? As a founder, and you mentioned this a few times now, where you are involved in controlling the process, because some founders just think, well, I hire an FSO and they're ultimately responsible for selling franchises. That's not how to do it. You need to be intimately involved in that to make sure you're bringing on the right candidates, right? That believe in your core values and you're still vetting them. It's not just let them sell. Otherwise, you may not be happy with who's on board.
That's a phenomenal point. It's probably the biggest thing or the hardest thing to do as an emerging
Hmm.
franchisor. It's very appealing. It's very attractive to have a whole organization help you get on the map and get 50 to 100 locations. And if you have the experience, I have some franchisors that I'm connected with, this is their third go and their experience and they have the infrastructure. That's great and great for them, and I think they're right for that. But for us, the hardest thing to do is to slow down.
Hmm.
Slow down. You don't need to go to 25, 30 locations. Do quality work with quality franchisees. Make sure you have zero turnover. Make sure everybody's happy. So we focus a lot on support. Our support system is through the roof. You can only accomplish that if you're at a slow pace. That's my firm belief, and we're going to continue that in the U.S. We're going to be extremely picky, and we're going to be holding on the reins very tightly.
Good for you, Mark. There's like 4,000 franchise opportunities out there, right? What do you think has been attracting them to garage floors for less?
Yeah, I think there's a fresh take on the brand itself as a sales funnel. I mean, the name itself is a sales funnel, and we focus a lot on generating leads, making sure that we're highly visible. That's step number one. Step number two is our support system. Our support system is extremely robust, whether it be AI and some of our digital infrastructure. But for example, even internally, we have an internal support system where daily we have we call it our morning flooring prep, where we actually meet internally to make sure that we support our franchisees every single day and everything is brought to the surface and we tackle that. So, but yeah, I mean, those are just some of the elements that help us do what we do.
Okay, and as for the the targeted franchisee, who do you think is the kind of person that really thrives in your system? I mean, you've got 21 franchises now, so you've probably started picking up some common threads along the way to see on what are some of these common traits of your high flyers.
Yeah, it's also kind of an interesting story where we have in one group we have a teacher who became a franchisee and is totally thriving, actually won franchisee of the year at our conference last month. And then we have an engineer, and then we have a technician that worked in an automotive dealership that wanted more freedom. But the common traits is they want more. They want more out of life. They want more control on their time, and they want to build something for themselves.
And are you open to multi-unit franchise locations, or are you just selling singles?
Yes, no, multi-unit franchisees are welcome. We do expect a different type of investment for those, and we need obviously
Mm-hmm.
a development plan with 3 territories or 5 or 6. But definitely that's available to whoever comes to us, and it has all the right elements.
And what's the overall investment range to open one?
So the overall range, you're looking between 125 to 185, and we're maybe on the higher side in our space, and that's because we have polished concrete and we have concrete repairs. We have a lot more tooling to assemble at the beginning, a lot more training. Our training is quite robust, but we can talk about that as well.
And what's the typical size of a territory?
So the typical size is between 125 to 150, detached households.
Okay, so based on households, all right. Well, that makes sense. Some people I know do population, but actually households makes a lot more sense here.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no garages in the condos, so.
True. You mentioned training and support and how important that is, and I know you guys take a lot of pride in that. Can you elaborate? What does training and support look like?
Well, first of all, you can't do training in 5 days. That just doesn't work. So what we have is we have a 4-week training program. The first week is in class and in field with our trainers here at head office. And then we have
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks of additional training. One is digital marketing and sales. And then we have in market where our national trainers will go into your market, and you have 1 week of sales training, and then you have 1 week of application training as well. And then that continues. And then you get what's called the scaling of your business training, which is ongoing. Basically, for the first 90 days, you have a weekly call to make sure that you're hitting all your major touch points and make sure that you're hitting some KPIs that get you where you need to be.
And you probably noticed that business coaching is a lot more prominent or more necessary than you first thought, probably when you first started franchising.
Yeah, coaching is huge. I mean, that's something, if I was to start over and invest more into, would be that for sure. It would be more and more coaching. I love it. I love the reception it gets, and I love the results. I mean, guys and gals that go through the training and get coached on a weekly basis really show a lot of positive results much quicker than the early days.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.